The story starts here, in the heart of the city.
We continue to follow the ongoing developments.
The student group is the first to take on such a project.
Everyone is waiting for a vote on the bill.
The team is winning at a record-breaking pace.
It's an issue for residents here and around Boston.
The story is coming up on Suffolk U News.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Suffolk U News, the weekly news program brought to you by the Department of Communication and Journalism at Suffolk University. I'm Dan McCarthy from New Milford, Connecticut. We're happy to be coming to you courtesy of your local cable company and online. In 1 month, many students across the country will be walking across a stage with a diploma in hand. But for almost just as many, a wall of debt will greet them as they take their first steps into the real world. President Barack Obama is looking to help students tackle that debt. His budget for the 2015 fiscal year will call for extending a tuition tax credit. The credit provides tax relief to student loan borrowers for giving debt under income-based repayment plans. But since President Obama's proposal isn't certain, students are looking at ways to get rid of their student debt fast. Suffolk U News reporter Carla Rojo tells us how one program called Smarter Bucks is helping students pay off some debt.
College graduates are faced with the burden of having to pay off thousands of dollars in loans.
And that's the scary thing, because you don't know what to do. They just kind of hit you one day.
Every year, more and more college students are looking at ways to get rid of their student debt fast. A new rewards program called Smarter Bucks is trying to help students with just that. Smarter Bucks is a free program that allows students to shop at participating stores, all while earning cash back that goes automatically to their loans. Students can shop at more than 500 online stores like Target, Staples, and Groupon, just to name a few. Even though Smarter Bucks has more than 100,000 members, only 15% earn cash back on a regular basis. One Suffolk University senior thinks it's a great way to get students aware of their loans.
So this is a really good solution, I think, you're already buying these things at these different stores, and so it's a good way to not spend any extra money, and it's a good way to ease into that and get in the mindset. It's okay, I'm starting to pay off my loans.
According to the Smarter Bucks website, the program pays off any type of student loan, from private to federal. While this program sounds enticing, some students prefer not to sign up for it.
Personally, I'd rather just do it myself, do the old-fashioned way. But I think some people definitely could use that reward program.
Students graduating hope to pay off their student loans in order to one day achieve financial freedom, something that has become unknown to many college graduates. Carla Rojo, Suffolk U News.
In the last 3 years, student loan debt has increased 27% for graduates of Massachusetts public colleges and universities. If you're thinking about going to graduate school, you might want to think twice. Graduate students may be the new face of the student debt crisis. According to the New American Foundation, students who go on for graduate degrees are borrowing 43% more than in previous years. The report also shows student loan debt for graduate and professional degrees may be increasing at a faster rate than undergraduate loan debt. From money woes to money raising, legendary actress Meryl Streep came to the Boston area, and it wasn't even to film. Over 3,500 people gathered at UMass Lowell to listen to Streep in a speaker series called A Conversation with Meryl Streep. She spoke about her much acclaimed acting career and even her personal life. But the event wasn't all just about her. Streep raised money for 2 scholarships that one lucky math and English major will receive. And she succeeded. She raised $230,000 with the help of another celebrity guest who attended, the town's Chris Cooper. UMass Lowell certainly had a star-studded and successful night. We continue our coverage now of the upcoming Boston Marathon, now fewer than 3 weeks away. Survivors of last year's bombings have spent the year reflecting on what happened to them that day. Suffolk U News reporter Jessica Bard sat down with 2 of the more than 200 victims who were injured in the terrorist attack, and one just so happens to be a Suffolk graduate.
They gathered on Boylston Street to cheer on a friend near the finish line at the Boston Marathon last year. They were standing here, right outside the Forum restaurant, just feet away from the second explosion that rocked the race. Suffolk alumna Jackie Webb and her now fiancé, Paul Norden, both from Stoneham, suffered severe injuries that will remain with them forever.
I have shrapnel in my chest that will remain in. I have a BB in there and a shot of metal that they won't take out because it's too dangerous.
As for Norden, he went through more surgeries than he can recall to his ears, face, arms, hands, and when he woke up from an induced coma.
I saw my little brother and he was coming to tell me that I lost my leg, but I already knew I lost my leg.
Norden now covers his prosthetic leg on his right side with a pair of long denim pants, but he and Webb both say when they tell their story, they hope people won't focus on the negative things.
There's definitely more good than bad. I know what happened to us was horrible, and you don't wish it upon anybody, but the outpour of support and people's generosity and the kindness that we saw was also something that was like unbelievable.
As the one-year anniversary of that horrific day approaches, the Stoneham Strong couple still have plans to return to Boylston Street on Marathon Monday to cheer on friends and family who are running in Webb and Norton's honor. Jessica Bard, Suffolk U News.
Norton and his brother, who also lost his leg at the marathon, wrote a book about their road to recovery. The book is entitled Twice as Strong, and it was released this week. You can order the book online at twiceasstrong.com. Once again, that website is twiceasstrong.com. To mark the anniversary of the bombings, thousands of items were left at Copley Square, and they're now going into an exhibit called Dear Boston, Messages from the Marathon Memorial. This exhibit will be hosted by the Boston Public Library from April 7th to May 11th. It will include messages, teddy bears, and running sneakers, all left by mourners from around the world. While the memories are sad, this exhibit seeks to remind and heal. Believe it or not, beach weather is coming, and as it does, one beach in Winthrop is getting a makeover. The Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation started the Renourishment Project on Winthrop Beach last year. The final phase of the renourishment, adding sand. The $25 million project includes repairing some of the beach wall that had been damaged from major storms. The project will continue throughout the summer, but not to worry, part of the beach will still be open to the public. The Boston Jobs Coalition recently held a protest against the construction of Millennium Towers, a $500 million luxury condo and office building on the site of the Filene's building in downtown Crossing. The coalition claims the site developer Millennium Partners has failed to meet the Boston residents' job policy, leaving residents, people of color, and women from accessing jobs. The protesters want Millennium to stop all construction until hiring goals can be met. One of those protesters, Rosemary Keene, explains what the impact on the Boston community is.
Homelessness is the problem, and people who are living crammed together because they need so many salaries for low-income people to be able to afford any apartment in Boston.
Millennium Partners received more than $19 million in public tax breaks and subsidies to help this project. A long winter is an expected annoyance for most of Massachusetts, but for those who don't have a place to call home, it can be a daily struggle for shelter from the cold. In an attempt to end that struggle, Governor Deval Patrick announced $25 million in funding towards permanent housing units for the homeless and low-income families last week. Housing and Shelter Alliance President Joe Finn says it will relieve pressure on homeless shelters during winters like this one.
It's not unrealistic to think that we could scale down shelters to the point where they were solely just short-term emergency shelter. And that's the impact behind the creation of these units and any other units, which I think has been part of the governor's plan over time.
The new funding is expected to lead to 16 new permanent housing projects with more than 300 units across Massachusetts. Starting this month, getting to Logan Airport from Boston's Back Bay is going to get a little easier. MassDOT will be launching a new shuttle bus service for passengers looking to get into the airport. That service will run every 20 minutes and stop at Copley and Hines Convention Center before heading to Logan. The ride will cost $5, but for those with an MBTA pass, it's free. More transport changes now. Crystal Transport has been shut down by federal regulators. The Boston Bus Company had shuttled thousands of students, staff, and tourists each day from the JFK UMass T station to the University of Massachusetts Boston campus and the JFK Library. Crystal Transport was ordered not to operate after a recent federal investigation revealed multiple safety issues. 2 new companies are already picking up passengers, though, to shuttle them from the Red Line to the Shoreline. Back on our campus now, we are more green and clean. Suffolk University has added the latest in health-conscious dining by bringing Smart Stock utensil dispensers to all of its cafeterias. Smart Stock is the first ever touchless utensil dispenser. With hundreds of students eating at Suffolk cafeterias every day, Smart Stock dispensers help prevent the spread of germs.
Those were installed for more sanitary purposes because when students usually grab their forks and spoons and knives out, they were also exposed to dust.
The design improves hygiene for all those who eat on campus. Well, from cutting food to cutting their hair for a cause to late-night street snacks across the city, plenty more to come on Suffolk News. Boston Bruins players are buzzing, and we'll tell you why just after the break.
The biggest Bruins fan is the man who will be shaving.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Well, the marathon is a few weeks away, and some of our favorite companies, at least, are really getting involved early. Our Suffolk Scene reporter, Dan Lamparello, joins us now to tell us more. Dan?
Yeah, so Sam Adams is going to be continuing a marathon tradition this year, Dan. For the third year in a row, the Boston Beer Company has created a commemorative beer for the race, dubbed Boston 26.2. All profits from the brew will be donated to the Greg Hill Foundation, which provides support to survivors of last year's bombings. This special brew will only be available this month. First it was the tea, now food trucks are breaking into Boston's up-and-coming late-night scene. Starting this month, 10 food trucks across the city will begin staying open until midnight. The majority of the trucks will be located near Copley Square, Boston University, and Northeastern. Mayor Marty Walsh says he hopes to expand the program by this summer. Also this summer, Mayor Marty Walsh is looking to make good on a promise he made to the arts community during his campaign. He's created a new executive position at City Hall focused specifically on the arts. The new commissioner will be responsible for securing new arts funding as well as working with local artists to encourage community-driven projects. Walsh is hopeful the position will be filled by this summer. The Boston Public Library is jumping into the 21st century. The BPL has partnered with Hoopla, a video streaming site a lot like Netflix. The service is free for library card holders, but once logged in, you can access tons of movies, music, television series, and of course, audiobooks. New content will be added to the Hoopla collection weekly, but there are already thousands of options you can download. A little bit of Broadway has arrived here in Boston. Book of Mormon lit up the marquee on Downtown Crossing on Tuesday night. The Tony Award-winning musical will run until April 27th at the Boston Opera House. Tickets can be purchased online at boston.broadway.com. Once again, that's boston.broadway.com. All shows are expected to sell out, so get the tickets while you can. I know for me, Dan, I'm going to get online right when I get home, make sure I get those tickets. I'm really excited to see the show.
You know, I'm not a really big musical fan, but I love South Park, and the two creators of that show are obviously behind Book of Mormon, so I'm definitely going to check it out. Thank you very much, Dan. They are champions in their division, have been winning on a hot winning streak, and even make the time to give back to their community. 20 Boston Bruins players shaved their heads last week in support of their teammate Sean Thornton's Cuts for a Cause event. Suffolk News reporter Katie Shambo has the buzz on how much money was raised and which Bruins stars are sporting new dues.
While their hair is now gone, their high spirits are still buzzing. The Boston Bruins participated in the 7th annual Cuts for a Cause on March 26th and raised a record $118,000. In addition to the money increase, it has also become more popular with the players.
You know, from where it started in a studio, 7 years ago to where it is now, it's become a cool team event.
Cuts for a Cause was started by Bruins forward Sean Thornton and supports pediatric cancer care. The week prior to the event, fans could bid online for the chance to shave their favorite Bruins player's head.
All money raised behind me here today will benefit the Sean Thornton Foundation, the Boston Bruins Foundation, and the Floating Hospital for Children at Tufts Medical Center.
A record amount of players came out to support the cause, and the talk of the day was young Dougie Hamilton and his golden mane.
He's got some lovely locks, and it'll be nice to see them gone.
Hamilton said his last haircut was nearly a year ago, and while he did it for the kids, there's also an added bonus.
Well, I struggled to keep it in my helmet.
Whether it went from a buzz cut to a shorter buzz cut or flowing locks to barely there, the players agreed this was an event that they didn't want to miss.
It's a great event. It gives us a chance to be part of this, and every guy's happy to do it.
Yeah, it's obviously it's for a good cause, and anytime you have a lot of your teammates together supporting such a nice benefit, it works out.
I think it's a pretty special thing to be able to do this, and anytime we can give back, and I think it's a good feeling.
Even the few Bruins that did not participate in the cuts portion of the event made sure to make a donation. Katie Shambo, Suffolk News.
This year's Cuts for a Cause raised nearly $42,000 more than last year's event. Well, that does it for this edition of Suffolk U News, the weekly news program brought to you by the Department of Communication and Journalism at Suffolk University. I'm Dan McCarthy. Be sure to continue to watch for the next Suffolk U News, bringing you more from the School of the Heart in the heart of the city. Goodbye.